Welcome to the No Cap Sports Show podcast, where sports and combos collide. I am your host, Fredo.
I'm your host, Cobra.
And I'm your host, O Dog. Go by the name of O.
There it is. There it is.
How y'all doing, fellas?
Man, I'm blessed, man. How about yourself?
Doing well. Hump day. Looking forward to the weekend, but everything is going pretty smooth.
Bet. That's what I want to hear, man. What's up with you, old dog? Everything good over there, champ?
I'm good, brother. Looking forward to these preseason games getting started tomorrow. And it's going to be a great weekend. We're going to have football on now for the rest of the year, and I'm excited. I'm excited about our next guest as well, family member.
Facts.
What's up?
Facts, and I'm excited too. Not only is he was a gifted athlete, superstar wide receiver, he's also family. Standout wide receiver from the D.C., Maryland, Virginia area, McNamara High School. Superstar wide receiver from University of Rutgers. And he put on the show so much that the New Orleans Saints professional football team had to snatch him up, where he caught balls for the great Drew Brees. So without further ado, welcome to the show, Brandon Coleman.
Yo, what's up, fellas?
Yo.
What up, bro?
What's happening?
Yeah, what's happening?
What's happening, cuz?
Man, I appreciate y'all setting this up, man. This is live. This is all right.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a pleasure having you on. But look, we have a lot of viewers and listeners right now that want to hear all about you. So look, we're going to jump right into the water.
Let's get in it.
The fellas know I roll. I like to start from the beginning. I like to go from the origin. So my question to you is, when did you know that you could potentially be a special athlete, and was football your first love?
So when did I know I could be a special athlete? Probably as soon as I could started running. Like I go back to, like, my parents used to have me in all the sports coming up, from swimming to soccer to baseball to basketball to football. The only really thing I didn't really get involved with was track, for real. But I knew I was, just gifted as an athlete, and I had a lot of energy I had to get, as a little kid. I wasn't even little. I was the tallest one. And I always had to play up, up a couple age classes. Mother always had to carry my birth certificate to all the tournaments, to all the games, because parents was complaining, "Oh, this boy's too big to be." Actually, he's younger than your son. Okay, ma'am. But football, it was actually football and basketball that I really was like my heart. And so when it came time to make the decision to just like focus on football, that was tough, and that didn't happen until senior year in high school. Like, I was like, all right, you're gonna have to make a decision. You could do both, or you could do basketball. But I'm a realist, right? And I take it y'all are realists on this show. That's why y'all call it No Cap, right?
You already know.
Question.
So
No question.
in high school, I had the realization that I'm playing basketball, I'm hooping, but at 6'6", I'm playing center or power forward, right? And I'm holding my own because I got that strength from football. I can hold my own against, the taller center, 6'9", whatever. And I wasn't ducking no wreck. I'm athletic. I can jump with you, all of that. But my skill set wasn't what it needed to be for a two guard or even a point guard, right? And if you're looking at the next level of collegiate athletes, NBA, right? Let's just take, arguably two of the greatest to ever play, Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant, stand 6'6". I was a realist and realized that, bro, your skill set not at that level right now. You post up, big man move, shot blocker. That was what I grew up doing. And so by the time I realized, like, if I ain't beat you off that second dribble, then that's it. I'm, I
Yeah,
don't have too
yeah,
much in my package. I don't have too much
right.
in my,
You ain't got a
so
repertoire.
I didn't got that. Like it's one post move, up and under, and if I ain't get you off that, then I'm passing it back anyways. Um, and I'll just realize, all right, that might not be it. But on the gridiron, you had someone like Calvin Johnson, who I was built like him, and he was at Georgia Tech. He the reason why I wore 21 in high school, anyways. And so I realized, like, bro, you might have a more of an advantage with your size on the football field if you stick with that. And so that's when I made that decision, and that was what came down to that.
Nice, nice, nice. I got a question for you. What are some of the, and staying with that, what are some of the youth coaches and programs that you play with in the area? A lot of times in basketball as well as football, a lot of times in basketball, you made a reference to saying how the coaches in high school and since you were so much taller, a lot of times back in our day, they didn't put you in position to play what you might play in college because
Yeah,
you are the tallest person on the team. You
yeah,
automatically the center, right?
yeah.
But who were some of the coaches when you were playing in a youth sports program before you got to high school that said, hey, man, you really might need to take a chance at playing, on the gridiron and going towards the gridiron and playing football instead of basketball?
Well, I would attribute that to my high school coach, Coach Bryce Bevel. He
Okay,
recruited me, basically recruited me from this. I was playing down in Waldorf for Waldorf Wildcats in like middle
got you.
school, and he, through connections he had, some of his previous coachings or coaches in his network knew it was like a funnel to that school, right?
Oh, yeah.
So he seen, he came and saw me as eighth grade, and he saw the framework. And this guy, he's played at Division One. He played in the CFL, had experience in the NFL. So it's like he's seen that. So he was the ones that's like, yo, this could, you got to trust me, right?
Yeah,
You got to trust
yeah.
me. It might not make sense right now, but I stuck with it, and he was the one. He's still in my life to this day as a mentor, as a spiritual, coach, life coach, and is just all the way just great friend and someone who is continuing to pour into me. Not just from high school, but college and the NFL and to post career.
Awesome.
Well,
Awesome.
I see that you went to Bishop McNamara. Hey, can
Mustang
you
gang.
hmm?
I said Mustang gang.
All day, every day? Hey, let me ask you this, Brandon. Like, who was your biggest rivals? Like I said, back then when you played for
Yeah.
Bishop McNamara.
Well, we went at it at St. John's a lot. Both sports, good counsel, DeMatha. Most of the time on football, they had our numbers. And,
Usual suspects, right?
yeah, your usual suspects. You know, Carol depends on the time of the day, I guess. But the WCAC, man, there's something special about the WCAC in general. Like, I didn't realize it. I knew it when I was in it, but it really hit home after I left, and I realized how much the WCAC had an impact on the whole country. You
Yeah.
go other places, you see representation from the WCAC in all sports, and it was an honor that I was a part of that. That legacy, right? And it still continues, right? You see guys still in the NBA, still in the NFL that represent the WCAC. Like, is when they really say something in the water, the DMV, the WCAC is really something here. Like, it was something truly special. In the era that I came out of McNamara in 2010, that was a special class too.
Mm.
Can you name some of the
Who was some of the
So,
guys?
some
all right,
some
Sorry
so
about that, Fred. Yeah.
I'll tell this story. Often about in basketball, right? My senior year, the Mathis starting five: Quinn Cook, Victor Oladipo, Jaron Grant, Mikael Hopkins, and James Robinson. That was like, and I knew then, I was like, man, this is fake. I knew then that something wasn't right, bro. Like,
yeah.
like three of them played in it, played a decent amount of ball in the NBA. Mikael went to, Georgetown. James played at Pitt. Like they, and then I think still overseas some of them. Like a lot of those guys was putting in work. Now you're talking about football, right? Good Counsel had Jelani Jenkins, Stephon Diggs, Lewis Young, right? The Mather, they had Kenny Tate, Rodney McLeod. Like there's a whole list of guys, Quanjo brothers. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Quanjo brothers, ain't no joke, right? They're good friends of mine still.
Wow.
Like a lot of these guys are still like good friends of mine. But it's because of that brotherhood, how we competed when we was in high school. It was all mutual respect for each other. So once we got out, once we went on and did our things in college and post career, like it's still all love.
Okay. So Brandon, obviously you tore up the gridiron your senior year at McNamara, and standing at 6'6", about what 2.25, at wide receiver, you had to be an attractive recruit. What was your recruiting process like?
Man, they definitely came with a lot of attention. It came with a lot of attention. I do remember my head coach at Rutgers. He flew a helicopter. The story has it he flew a helicopter from Jersey and landed it on the practice field or the game field at McNamara just to come meet with me at school. And so you can imagine like that word gonna spread throughout the school quick, right? Like get the gospel in, everybody like, whoa, we got a helicopter on campus, like who they here to see? Like, oh man, like this is big time. Like I think that was the first time that might have happened. The official visits was something that I was like, man, this is cool. You get to go to these campuses, for I think it was a weekend, family get to come with you, everything paid for. And I'm just like, man, they really show you like everything. And they spoil you, wine and dine you, that whole process was, something I don't take for granted. Now I'm not a guy that has many regrets, but I wish that I would have taken advantage of all 5 of my official visits. I only took 3.
Come on.
I left 2 on the plate. I left.
You got to talk about that.
Come on. Come on.
In my mind, I already had it made up where I was going. And so I didn't like see like the value then in taking the other 2. And I only did 2 other ones just to be political and keep it interesting. But I had already made up my mind I was going to Rutgers, and I did an official at Maryland just off the strength of the relationship that I had built with, that team, and then Syracuse off the relationship I had with my head coach. But if I should have just went to Stanford. I should have did an official to Stanford because they had an offer for me. And their coach actually the head coach flew in all the way to DC to come see me.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Like
from Stanford?
From Stanford.
Yeah.
And I left that, bro. I didn't know what I know now, dog. I didn't know what I know now.
He been playing with Andrew Luck, right?
Nah, I think Luck was before me.
Luck? Yeah. Luck came out 2012.
Yeah, 12, right? Yeah.
Yeah, Luck. Luck first year in the NFL was 2012.
Yeah.
His first year was 2012.
Yes, sir.
If I'm not mistaken.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Well, yeah, I mean, definitely could have ended up with Luck.
It worked out well for you, brother.
It did. Well. I don't like I said, I don't have no regret for where I chose to go, but I think just the exposure, just to see what Stanford's
There you
campus
go.
would look like.
There you go.
Just the
There you
exposure,
go.
just to get out of this area.
Right.
Like I hadn't seen anything outside of the East
Right.
Coast for real.
Right. Right.
Stanford is an elite, campus,
It's beautiful campus.
academics, right?
Unbelievable. Yes, sir.
Like all of that
Yes, sir.
together. So
Yeah.
that's
Great head coach at the time too.
great head coach
No
at
question.
the time.
No question.
So the
It's
program
a
was on
teaching.
the up and
Yeah.
coming. So
Yeah, but with that being said, what you explain in your story, it's a teaching point, right? The one thing I tell my kids when I train my kids and they have opportunities and they get these offers and they say, well, coach, I'm only going to take three visits, official visits. I pretty much know where I'm gonna go, or I'm only going to take 4. The one thing that I tell them is this: you will never ever have the opportunity again
nope.
to go travel the world on someone else's dime,
Yeah.
right?
Good
And
point.
then 2, right? So regardless, if you're a Southern kid and maybe never been up top on the East Coast, if you're an East Coast and never been out on the West Coast, and as well as you get to take a family member and maybe 1 or 2, I forgot what it is,
Yeah,
maybe
plus
1 or 2
one.
of your family members, right? Plus
Yeah,
1.
yeah.
We'll never. Yeah, you can go. You'll get a chance to go again, but it will never be on someone else's dime.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
always tell my college kids, go experience Stanford, go to Georgia, go to LSU. Just go experience those things because there's an opportunity, and you'll never get that opportunity again on their dime, right? So go experience, go see different things and stuff like that, or whatever the case may be. And then if a school truly wants you, they'll be patient with you. You put enough work in, or whatever the case may be, they'll be patient with you. And if they try to take that scholarship, or you went to Alabama and well, that means they never really wanted you anyway.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's a good. I'm glad you shared that story. That's a great teaching point.
Yeah.
He got to put them other 5 schools out there. That's what I'm trying to find out right now.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Nah,
Who was the other 5?
So it was Maryland, it was Syracuse, it was Stanford. Wake Forest. I think
Okay.
I took an unofficial to Wake Forest, and that campus is beautiful. I don't know if y'all ever been to Wake Forest.
Yes,
campus.
sir.
It is beautiful.
Beautiful.
And I'm pretty sure that they've made it. They made some advancements, upgrades, to it since 2010. But it was beautiful back then.
Yeah,
I remember that vividly.
Yeah.
Wow. So Randy Edsel at Maryland, he recruited you at that time? Was it Randy Edsel?
Randy Edsel. What's my guy's name? He was the offensive coordinator. It wasn't Randy Edsel because it was
it wasn't Randy.
Because the head coach was Fridge at the time.
Ooh.
Ralph. And who's the coach of Penn State?
Yeah, I know you're talking about.
Oh,
Franklin.
Franklin.
Yeah,
He was like the recruiter. He was the recruiter. And then the receiver coach, I believe the receiver coach at the time was Coach Hall.
Okay.
I like Coach Hall. I did like Coach Hall.
Okay.
I actually, funny story, my host, guess who my host was at Maryland?
Let us know.
Torrey Smith. Torrey Smith, big bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Nice.
Torrey Smith, big bro. And
I'm about to say Haywood Bay, but okay, yeah.
Haywood Bay was a dog. He was, you know what I'm saying? But at Torrey Smith, and I was, he and I are still close.
That's what's up.
Connected.
Awesome. That's what's up.
Wow.
For sure.
Okay, so you go to Rutgers. Now you're there, you settled in, you're doing your thing on the football field. How you feeling about your choice now?
I feel like I made the wrong choice that first year, boy, because I got redshirted. I was like, oh Lord. First time I was humbled. I was like they got, you got chin checked. You like, hold on, wait a second. It was the first time I got I was top dog before high school, top dog in high school. Now, you know what I'm saying? Now I got to this first bit of humility on this big stage. Did I make the right choice? Am I really ready for this? Did I pick the right sport? Like all of these thoughts are going through my head. And I really, I talked to her briefly with my high school coach about it and my father about it at the time. And they obviously they talked me off the ledge and kept my head in the game. But that was once I got my mind wrapped around, I said, all right, this isn't a loss. This is an opportunity for me to develop, mentally, physically, emotionally, to prepare myself, and that's okay. Right? Everybody just doesn't come in and play as a true freshman, right? And this doesn't mean that you're not. But for me, it was tough because I've roomed with 3 true freshmen, and 2 of them played receiver. So it was a little bit tougher for me because every time we had a road game, I was the only one still in the apartment watching them on TV, and waiting for them to come back. Right. So that was a little tough that first year, but mentally it prepared me for what the next chapter was going to be. Right. But I didn't see that big picture. Only God did. And so it didn't make sense until I got to that, until I got to the league. But that first year it was tough for me. But I also knew that, it's okay to have that developmental year. And I understood that was a part of my process. That was the race I had to run. And the saying about you got to keep your blinders on, you got to run your race. And that was that first lesson for me. And then it ended up panning out. Like that was something that I needed.
Okay,
Nice.
Fellas, I gotta ask you something. This obviously this to you as well, Brandon. I need you guys to explain something to me in terms of red shirt. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So when they redshirt you, do they tell you like, okay, yeah, we need to redshirt you this year because we want you to get bigger, we want you to get stronger? How does that whole entire process work, guys? Can y'all explain that to me? That's what I'm trying to find out.
It can go
a bunch of different ways.
It can go different ways, right? You could get hurt and you got to get like a medical red shirt. Okay. They could have that same conversation that you just laid out, like, hey, we need you to get bigger, faster, stronger, or so you can get up to the level of speed that we're going to be competing at in this conference, right? It can be a different it's a different scenario every time. You could play, like I said, you can start off as a true freshman, you can get hurt, and then if you don't play a certain amount of games, you still can get that red shirt year.
Okay.
And have an extra year eligibility, just depending on that timing. But
or you might come in.
Chime in.
For sure. Or you might come into a room that just got some dogs. And
okay.
You come into a room that just got some dogs, you might not be able to break that to crack that starting lineup as a true freshman.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So so a lot of times what you do is, and if you got some true soldiers in there and some good folks, what they'll do is they'll take one of those red shirt freshmen or one of them freshmen under their wing, and one of those OGs will show him, especially if you see he got some talent, right? And you'll take him and he'll groom, so that way when it is his time, and he'll push him to make him push him every day.
Yeah,
right. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm helping you get right, so that way my job can be easier. Because if I don't have to face these double coverages, because B on the other side, and if you double cover me, B gonna go crazy on the other side. Yeah. So a lot of times, you come in, it's all different situations when it comes to red shirt. You can red shirt, like you said, you might red shirt because of the medical thing. You might red shirt because you come into a room where it's just too much competition and it's too many dogs right now at you. And that's not no knock on you. It might not just be your time, right?
Yeah.
So it's all different ways to red shirt for sure.
Okay, thanks for breaking that down, folks. For real,
no doubt. You weren't the only one that had that question. It's a good question.
Yeah, for sure.
So let me ask you this, Brandon. With the transfer portal, the way it is right now, is live and jumping. You know what I'm saying? And you got the transfer portal, and you got these NIL deals. The younger you back then, would you have been able to handle what's going on in today's climate in terms of college football?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's a lot, guys, that I'm not even sure. I'm grateful that I didn't have the NIL. I'm grateful that social media wasn't as big as it is now. Like social media was just on the up and coming when I was in college. The transfer portal, would I have been able to navigate it? I'm sure I would have adapted to the times, just off exposure to it. But I'm just like I said, I'm grateful I don't have to live through that now. Like I'm glad I was before all of that,
Yeah.
because this is madness.
To
Madness.
say the least.
For
Yeah,
sure.
to say the least,
For
right?
sure. No doubt. No doubt.
So B, when did you hit your stride at Rutgers? When did you know, okay, now I'm in my bag, I'm doing my thing, and now it's time to start thinking about maybe even the next level?
To be honest, I didn't go into Rutgers thinking about the next level. I did not go into Rutgers thinking about the next level. Even in high school, I wasn't thinking about, man, I could play professional one day. It literally was just me having fun playing the sport that I love and grateful for the opportunity to play at the next level. So when I got to college, I was like, this is cool. This is, fresh shirt the first year. Then I hit my stride that next off season in spring ball. Spring ball was like, all right, bet. I got and I got that full season of just, working out. I'm bigger, I'm faster, I'm stronger. I know the offense. Like, let me loose. You know what I'm saying? Come out there, redshirt freshman year, break out on the scene, have a great year, come back redshirt sophomore year. And that's when I'm like, all right, I'm in my bag now. Then the off season came after my redshirt sophomore year. But that's when the scouts start, coming around.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
start noticing me because they doing the pro days for the guys that going before me,
For you.
and
Yeah.
they taking looks and they sizing me up and doing that whole thing. And then that's when I'm like, maybe I might have, let's just see let's just keep rolling with this wave. Like, if this is where, this is where it's going, this is the trajectory, then let's just ride this wave, right? I'm a good kid, stayed out of trouble, had good grades, was respectable, good teammate. So it's like I'm doing all the things on paper that that would make me a good candidate. On top of, I'm balling. So let's just roll that dice and see where that goes. But then adversity hits again that following off season after my redshirt sophomore year, a freak accident and winter conditioning. I tear my meniscus.
Okay.
Yeah, and so now I'm like, dang, dog. Now I take the whole off season that going into my redshirt junior year to rehab my knee, and I just really never recovered. And put up the same numbers going into that last year, right? And so now I got a decision to make at the end of that year. The scouts had gave me a grade of third or fifth round if I did come out, and at the same time, Rutgers was now leaving the. I
Big
think
East.
they
Big East.
leaving the Big East, and I think we did 1 year in the AAC or something like that. Right, but we left that and it was going to the Big Ten for my redshirt senior year.
Right.
And I'm thinking like, hell nah. We ain't got no quarterback. We ain't got no offensive line. I'm never gonna get the ball. We playing Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State every week. Like we just did. I knew we didn't have the talent on that roster to compete and not get blown out every week. And I'm not ducking any wreck, but I'm just a realist again.
No cap, right?
And I'm
like
just,
you said, that's the name of the sports show. No
I'm
cap.
just like,
right?
hold on, bro. Like, all right. Then that's when it put things in perspective. I'm like, all right. Then that's when I started understanding the business. They made a business decision for themselves, Rutgers as a brand, as you know what I'm saying. They made a business decision, long-term play for themselves. I was like, I need to do the same for me. I need to bet on myself. I know, like, I'm willing to roll the dice. Now, here's the thing. Like, I only had 9 credits left to graduate. So I told my mother, I said, listen, I got a plan with the academic advisors. I know you don't want me to leave school early. I know he wanted me to get my degree, but here's the plan in place for me to come back the following off season and just knock and sweep this out. I'm not going to carry this out too long. It's only 9 credits. It's not even a full semester. You know what I'm saying? Like that's lightweight. So there's an opportunity for me right now to, you know, take it to the next level, and I'm gonna roll that dice. And so, you know, she was behind me, and the whole family was behind me, and I don't regret looking back on that.
Well, you just took the question from me, because that was getting ready to be my next question. What made you, you know what I'm saying, decide to leave early?
Yeah.
When doing some research on you and things like that. That was a quick question I was going to ask you. But also, who was your head coach there at Rutgers at the time?
So we had, for the first 2 years, I had Greg Schiano.
Okay, that's what I thought.
And then then he left and went to Tampa, and then I had Kyle Flood.
I don't know who that guy is. Yeah.
Kyle Flood he was in-house, so he was
okay. He used to coach Alabama as well. He used to be on
he used to be Alabama roster, O-line coach. He might be at Texas right now. Last I checked.
He is.
So he's down in Texas right now, but he was an in-house hire. So that was, I had 2 years and 2 years.
Got you. How'd you like Gino?
Schiano.
Schiano, my bad.
Schiano, he was you know, he's someone I got a lot of respect for. At the same time, we didn't see eye to eye once he left, but before that, I was ready, to run through a wall.
Say no more.
I was ready to run through a wall for him. It was just how he left that it didn't sit well with me, and it wasn't until this past year that we finally had to talk. We finally had a chance to talk one-on-one, and just like, man to man, be like, all right, this is what it was. This is how I felt emotionally at that time, and he was able to let me know like what was going on, that I didn't understand, from his perspective, but at the same, like I said, there's a lot of respect there for him. And now that he's back at the program, I feel comfortable going back to But it wasn't until he and I got to sit down and had that conversation, like men are supposed to.
Like men, as you should. Salute, my man.
Hey, Brandon, a question. Toughest teams that you played against in the Big East?
Toughest team, Louisville.
Miami
wasn't there.
Miami wasn't Miami.
They wasn't like that back then.
They were ACC. You gotta remember they were ACC.
Right. Yeah, they was ACC.
Louisville was probably the toughest because they had Teddy Bridgewater. Before Lamar, it was Teddy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Teddy was a dog. West Virginia was a problem. Noel Devine, Tavon Austin.
Yeah.
Boys. They had that Geno Smith boy.
They had a track team up there.
But they could do the little jet sweep to Tavon. He up that side. I remember one game. Listen, this was so crazy. I had never seen anything like this. We had a snow game at Rutgers, West Virginia. We knew the exact play that they was running, right? You see Tavon come in motion. Geno about to catch that joint, shove it to Tavon, and so Tavon is coming in motion towards our sideline. Now it's snow all on the field, but they only blowed off the hash marks, right, and the sideline. That's how crazy it was. You only seen the tickets on the hash marks and the sideline. They snapped the ball. Geno get it, hot potato to Tavon. Tavon is sprinting towards our sideline, right? Shoulder square running towards us. And then all of a sudden you see him run up that once like plow up the sideline and there's nobody's there. And I was just like, dang. Like it was just like a lane just for him. That was just
he was
plowed,
different.
It was just plowed just for him. I was like, dog, this is crazy.
Yeah, he was different. Yeah, he was different.
Different.
For sure. For sure.
Wow. So B, let's fast forward. So you bet on yourself.
Yeah.
and it obviously worked because you landed in New Orleans.
Yeah.
So yeah, so your first season in New Orleans, I believe you was a undrafted free agent, correct?
Yep. And so that was a experience in itself, right? Bet on myself. I'm prepared to go third to fifth round draft, right? I'm thinking like I'm about to see my name get called. I'm about to get that whole experience, and uh obviously that didn't happen. Like I'm just thinking now, I feel like I let everybody down. I feel like an embarrassment. I feel like, disappointment in self. I feel like I, let my, family, high school, college down. Everybody who was like, expecting all of this from me, but there was nobody putting more pressure on me than me, right? It was just, that narrative that I had, that story that I'm telling myself in my head at that time. And it was just like, damn, like, and I, at the same time, I didn't understand the business side of it, right? The only red flag that was on my name was that knee injury. Still, with the knee injury, I ran a 4.56 at the combine. Still, like, that's crazy for my size, and you know what I'm saying? And I still fell that far, but I didn't understand, like, yo, from a business perspective, if they knew that I was a steal and getting me for pennies on the
Yeah.
dollar, you know what
Yeah,
I'm
get you
saying,
for cheaper.
on a
Yeah.
signing bonus, right? Like I didn't understand
Yeah.
that at the time. I didn't understand that at the time. So emotionally, I was like, oh, this is crazy. And now after the draft is over, all like my phone blowing up off the hook. And I'm like, where was this? Where was this at, a couple hours ago?
Yeah, 2 rounds ago, for
You know what I'm
sure.
saying? Something. And so I had, now no cap, I had the Patriots call me. I had the Chargers call me. I had the Dolphins, the Vikings. Those are like the big teams that I do remember that was like blowing my phone up, and obviously New Orleans. I turned down going to New England, right? Because I'm like, bro, it's one thing if I get drafted there, but I'm not choosing to play in the cold again.
Right.
I'm like, I just came from Rutgers, though. I'm not choosing to play in the cold again. Like, it's one thing if I got drafted, then that's different. But if now I got a choice, is what y'all telling me, I bet. So I did not choose Miami because I knew myself. I'm like, I don't really think that I'm mature enough to handle
Smart. Great
being
decision.
in
At
Smart.
Miami
FNB, yeah.
at
Smart.
20, 21 years
Smart.
old, right out the
Tip my
Definitely.
gate.
hat to
Like,
you, brother.
you know what
Tip
I'm
my hat to
saying?
You
you,
saw
brother.
that.
I saw that
Yeah.
and I was like, I don't
Smart.
know.
Man.
Smart.
So, and then it came down really between San Diego and New Orleans, and I was like, San Diego is a ways out there, but
Phillip.
it's nice, right? But then at the same time, New Orleans had a dome. They had Drew Brees. They had it was in the South. I always wanted to be in the South. Like I felt like my personality, was like resonated with that more so than the SoCal vibes. Great food, great music, great culture. Like, and from the football standpoint, they had the highest percentage of keeping undrafted free agents on their roster, and they also had the offensive system that I was familiar with in college. They had the same system, same playbook, just called it different plays. I'm like, it'd be a better chance for me to learn, pick up on that, and give myself the best chance of making the team. And then they also have, you talked about having the dogs in the room that's already there. Though that was Marcus Colston and Robert Meacham.
That's what I was just getting ready to
And
say.
so I'm
Robert
like,
Mitchell Walker. Yeah.
those are
I think he was
those
undrafted too, wasn't he?
Marcus was
Seventh
seventh
round.
round. Marcus
Seventh
was
round.
Seventh round?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Colston
Yeah.
was seventh round. And so, but they was dogs, right? And they
Yeah.
savvy veterans, and they both big body receivers. And so I'm like, but I could learn so much from them because I'm a student of the game. And they was willing to give me the game. Like you said, they was willing to take me up under their wing and show
No
me that,
doubt.
you know what I'm saying? Show me the ropes and put me on game. And I was a sponge. I was on their hip, right?
Yeah.
And that paid off and got me to, to being able to make the 53-man roster the next year.
Awesome.
So,
Awesome.
So
Great
that
story.
next year, when you're on a 53-man roster, you started
towards
opening
the end of the season. I didn't start. I don't think I started that year. I started the year after that. But I did get started. I did start like towards the end of that season because what happened was I played that Swiss Army knife role where I had to know all the receiver positions X,
Wow.
Y, Z, and F. Right. Just in case somebody went down, got hurt, somebody needed a breather, no matter who it was, we needed that next because you only got so many guys up on game day, like so far like receivers, right? And because not all 53 guys are up, right?
Not at all.
I
On
believe
Sundays.
it's
I
what
think
47,
48.
40,
48. Yeah.
around that
Yep.
number, right? So everybody's not up, and that means sometimes it's an extra offensive lineman, sometimes it might be an extra tight end, sometimes it might be extra DB, depending on what the numbers are looking like that week for your against your opponent. But if we carry 5 or 6 receivers, then I needed to be that guy just to go in, just for whoever at any time. And so that was my role. And I was like, man, and that's when I earned the trust of Drew Brees, right? Because he knew he can count on me, plug me in. Sean Payton the same way, right? They knew that they could count on me for that, and that was the value add. That was what I brought to the table, to the team.
Yeah. And speaking of Drew Brees, so how did it feel catching your first touchdown pass from the great Drew Brees? And then the second part of that question, even prior to that, I read somewhere where he said that you were the MVP of the offseason. Like how did it make you feel?
Wow.
That was an honor, right? Because we all know he's a future Hall of Fame quarterback. And I knew that going into it, and I had a lot of respect for him, learning from him, being in his presence. Not everybody can say that, right? Not a lot of people can say that they have their first catch in the NFL is a touchdown pass from a Hall of Fame quarterback, right? Not a lot of people can say that. And I don't even know how many people can say that, but I know it's few, and I'm one of them. So it's just that right there. As an undrafted free agent, I was ready to retire after that moment. To be honest, I was just like, I won. Like I was like, this is like the pinnacle for me at that time. I'm like, man, this moment was so severe. I remember it like it was a simple flat route, on the sideline in the red zone, broke a tackle on Tyrann Mathieu, Honey Badger, and
in Arizona. In
Arizona.
Yeah, I know.
And
I was there, brother.
That was
that 14 or 15?
15.
15. Yeah.
2015, man. So I was like, that was before the beard had connected. I just had to go to no locks. It was just, I was thugging it. But it was like, baby face cold. That was a time, man. That was a beautiful time.
Let me ask you this, Brandon. Toughest cornerbacks you played against?
Toughest cornerbacks. I would definitely say, Richard Sherman was one of the ones. Now he never it was never in a situation where, it was man to man. It was more of a zone situation. He was, if he was over top of me, because he would, if it was man, he was traveling with the ones, and that wasn't my role on the team. But he was pretty, tough. But I got behind him in some coverages before, so I do have respect for Josh Norman, his game. And when he was in Carolina, we had some battles as well. A lot of people don't like to give him his credit, but he was.
Oh, he had it when he was in Carolina, he was. I mean, J-Man. Yeah.
We just tried to make him
talked about him in the song.
Take him from a zone corner to a man to man, which he was never a man to man corner.
Yeah.
That's what we do as an organization. But I digress.
Yeah. It happened to Nnamdi too in Philadelphia.
You're right, bro.
I mean, it happens. He's not the first one. It happens to a lot of
You're
Quick
right.
question for you, Brand. Talking about Drew Brees, I had a one of my former clients is Jonathan Casillas. He
Yeah,
was a JC. So that's
yeah.
one of my former clients, right?
Okay,
So
okay,
he had just left and went down to Tampa. I
okay.
think if I'm not mistaken, when
Or
you
was it
came
New
in, I think
York?
he had just left. No. He finished in New York.
Okay,
He
okay,
finished,
okay,
yeah, he
okay,
finished
okay,
it with the New York Giants.
okay,
But
okay.
uh, he spoke very highly of Drew Brees. He said even with him being a undrafted free agent, he was an undrafted free agent as well.
Yep, yep.
Jonathan Vilma took him under his wing.
Mm.
Velma,
And
yep. OG, bet.
but he said Drew Brees always treated whether you were undrafted free agent or you was a first
Respect.
round pick. He
Yeah,
always, especially if he respected you and respected your work ethic and you worked on your craft and your skill set. So just
yeah.
talk a little bit about not just catching the ball, but just how was he as a person? Like, you know what I mean? When you have that quarterback wide receiver night, when you go get that dinner on a Thursday, you or on the road or something like that or whatever. Could you share a story or something that
Yeah,
maybe
man.
when he pulled you to the side and chopped it up with you a little bit and
I
told you,
got
hey man, you got a future here?
I got two stories that stick out to me, and I could go on about it. I could go on plenty more about it, but two in particular. One in the beginning of my career, and one when I was on my way out. In
Okay.
the beginning of the career, practice squad year. After every practice, Drew, you stay with the wide receivers, get some more passes in, right? And then after that, they'll break it down and he'll have an individual handshake with each receiver. Now, for the two practice squad receivers, myself and shout out my boy Stretch Shantavius Jones, he just would give us the fist bump, and that was it. And I was content with that,
Mm-hmm.
right? But it was towards the end of that long first year on the practice squad, like I think we probably somewhere in like November, getting ready to go into December, right? That's a good stretch, and you still with the team.
Right.
He After we broke it down one time, he looked at both of us and was like, I think it's time we get our own handshake.
Tough.
I was like,
That's what's up.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was
Oh,
caught off guard, dog.
Nice.
I was like, damn.
Salute.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So
salute.
I'm like at the same time, on the inside, I'm like a little kid, like I'm like fangirl, like you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying. But on the outside, I'm like, I'm cool. Like I'm trying not to. As soon as he turned his back, I'm looking at my dog, like I'm like, bro, we made it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I go back
That's
in the
what's up.
crib. I go back to my locker, text my parents right quick. I'm like, y'all never go guess what just
Yeah.
happened,
That's
dog.
dope.
You know what I'm
That's dope.
saying? So I'm thinking of like, man, I gotta come up with some cool handshake. I can't come up with no lame shit. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So that was like, I felt like he really seen the work that we had put in.
Yes,
And
sir.
he not just saying that to anybody. Like you had to earn that. And I
Yeah.
did.
Salute.
So that was the first one. And then on the end of my career, after I got hurt and after I got injured, and I wasn't sure if I was coming back or not. And he and I would he invited me to train with him in San Diego before training camp, right? So he would fly, he would put up all the guys, the skills guys, tight ends, receivers, running backs, come out to San Diego for a week before training camp, get some extra reps in, and this was something I was still undecided about, if I was still going back, if I was going to pass the physical and all that stuff. And he pulled me to the side and was telling me about his, injury in San Diego and how that
Yeah.
was mentally. And he was just like, listen, there's always a silver lining. And that silver lining got me here in New Orleans. And now look how that played out.
Mm.
Right. And that gave me hope. It gave me encouragement that no matter how the chips was going to fall, that it was supposed to fall how they was going to. And
Awesome.
right, and that gave me a peace of mind. Right, he ain't had to say that. He ain't had to pull me to the side and do that. Right, and that let me know, like, as a person, right, to answer your question, like as a person, as a human, like he's super
Yeah.
genuine, right? And And even then, later that year, when it was really like official that I wasn't coming back, he called me. He called me and was like, "Man, I just want to say, Biko, I just want to, let you know, man, I love how you, from the time you got here, that you put in this work and you never complained not once." And like he was just really expressing that gratitude, and I broke down crying, dog, because I knew this was the end, and I didn't want it to go out like this. I ain't want to go out like that, right? And I didn't see myself going out like this, but for him to take the time out of his day and call me and share that, man, that meant the world. And it just let me know, like, bro, I played the game the right way. I never cheated the game, and I can find peace in that.
Nice. That's dope, man. Thank you for sharing that, man.
Yes.
That's dope. Great stories.
That's awesome. Before we get into our rapid fire, I have one more question for you, B. Well, it's more so a statement. With the NFL draft on the horizon, there's plenty of
For the season,
out there that's following the same path as you had. What kind of advice can you give them in terms of the mindset that they need to have so they can make that 53-man roster, so they can be successful in their professional careers?
you gotta understand that. So you saying like with the training camp and the cuts, final
Yeah,
cuts?
with the season.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
with the trying to make the team.
I got you.
Yeah, with the cuts and stuff. Yeah.
So it's all about what you put out on tape. It's all about what you put out on film. If it's meant to be, it's meant to be. But what you put out on film that's your resume. Every day you sign your name on that film, right? Every rep that it counts, right? I will say this. Don't count the reps, make the reps count.
Count.
You know what I'm saying? That mantra
Repeat that
lives.
again, bro.
That mantra lives in every locker room.
Yeah.
And
Facts.
it's been for years, right? So
sure.
Don't count the reps, make the reps
Make
count.
the reps count 100%.
Be intentional about every rep that you take, because you signing your name on every rep. And that's going to carry over. So if it's not with the team that you on right now, word of mouth travels, and it's how many other teams in the league that's going to get word of mouth of that. And then let's say one of these coaches ends up, let's say one of your position coaches ends up as a coordinator at another team, and he remembers your work ethic from training camp, and he's like, "Nah, I'm gonna sign my guy right here, because I know he's gonna work, and I know his work ethic, and I know, like, you know what I'm saying." So it's stuff like that.
Okay.
Awesome. Hey, Fredo, let's get into rapid fire. So Brandon, we're gonna have some rapid fire questions for you. And you just choose one or the other. We're gonna name two names, two people, two things, and you just choose one or the other. All right.
Bet.
All right. Merlin or DMV?
DMV.
Jerry Rice or Randy Moss?
Jerry Rice.
Football or basketball?
I'm gonna go basketball.
What?
Yeah, curveball. I'm gonna go curveball. I had to switch it up. I'm go because it was predictable. Keep you on your toes, bro. Keep you on your toes, though.
I hear you, cuz. I hear you.
Jordan or Kobe?
I'm gonna go Jordan.
Way to bounce back strong, cuz.
Way to bounce back. Way to bounce.
Cowboys or the Commanders?
Ew.
Yeah, like that was terrible. Who came up
Where you
with
going
these questions?
Oh man, yeah. I'm gonna go Commanders because I don't like Jerry Jones.
I knew I liked that guy right there. That's my guy right there. Check is in the mail.
All right. Breeze or Brady?
Breeze.
All day. And last one, Sean Payton or Belichick?
I'm gonna go Peyton. I got respect for Peyton just because how he same way with Drew. Like you people can say a lot about him, right? But he pulled me in his office and he kept it 100 with me, and that's that's all I can ask for. You know what I'm saying? Man, look you in your eye and keep his word. You know what I'm saying? That's all you can ask for.
Facts.
Okay.
So that's my rapid fire.
Okay. So give me your top 5 wide receivers of all time.
Okay. Jerry Rice, Calvin Johnson, Randy Moss, for sure. Who else we got? Anquan Bolden, don't get the respect that he deserves.
Salute.
What's
Monster.
that? 1, 2, 3. Was that 4?
Yes.
Yeah.
And Larry Fitzgerald. And if we go Anquan, I'm gonna go Larry too. So yeah, them like
That's what's up.
yeah.
He's official.
That's an awesome list right there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Awesome
it is.
list. Yeah. Well, look, B, cuz we appreciate you coming on the show. It was an absolute pleasure. We enjoyed this interview. I know our viewers and listeners had a great time listening to you. And
Yes,
I
sir.
just, from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate you taking your time to chop it up with us.
Nah, of course, man. It's family. So I appreciate y'all, holding this space for me. And I look forward to hearing this later, man.
Absolutely. And like I said, I second that, man. It's an honor and a pleasure to have you on, man. And hopefully and prayerfully, man, we can get you back on again, man, because like I said, you was such a vibe, champ.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I appreciate that, man.
100%.
You already know. That's
All
what's
right,
up.
man. Y'all be good, man.
You too, man.
One
We
out of here,
appreciate
Cole.
you, man.
Yes,
All right.
sir.
Take us home, Cole.
Oh, you already know this is a No Cap Sports Show podcast. We appreciate all of our viewers and listeners tuning in with us each and every week when we bring that heat to you and we bring great guests and special guests. We have Brandon Coleman this week. Make sure you watch. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast link. Hit that like button. And look, we're going to see y'all next week. We out.
Peace.
Salute.
There are 4 fouls on the play.
That's why it took so long.
Running into the kicker, number 34 in the kick receiving team.